Welcome to a new episode of From Every Path, a podcast celebrating the unique journeys of our ward family. Each episode will explore the life of one member, learning how their path, whether filled with challenges, triumphs, or quiet moments, has brought them closer to God and enriched our ward community. This is Channing Atkin, and thank you for joining us. Today we're here with Sister Wilson, and we thank you for taking the time to be here today. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about your experiences and the moments that have shaped your life. Let's start by having you share a little bit about yourself and how long you've been on the ward and what's something you'd like people to know about you.
Oh, let's see. I've been in the second ward as long as it's been, right before COVID when they rearranged everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved into this neighborhood about 18 years ago. Yeah, it's 18 years. So I was in the 12th ward and then that got dissolved
So you came over.
with the merger.
Okay.
So that was right before COVID.
Yep.
But I really like this area. I just teach in Syracuse, and so it's really nice to be so close to work.
Yeah.
So
Where do you teach at?
I teach at Syracuse Elementary. I teach
Okay.
fourth grade right now. I've taught, well, this is my 30th year teaching. So I'm old. So I've taught kindergarten, second grade. I had a stint teaching a third, fourth split. I taught fourth grade. That's what I teach right now. And I've been a school counselor also.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll definitely talk more about that when we get to that stage of your life.
Okay.
But let's talk about some of your favorite things. What's your favorite color?
I have three: green, blue, and purple.
Okay. What's your favorite dessert?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes anything with dark chocolate in it.
Okay.
And I like pie better than cake because
Me too. I'm not a big cake guy.
it has to be the right kind. It just depends.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite season?
Oh, that's kind of hard because I'm old, and so I like summer when I don't have to work as hard.
Right. When you're out
But
for
I
the
think spring is the most hopeful season.
spring is
for
good.
me.
Do you have a favorite flower or plant?
I love lilies, and I don't know about favorite plants. I haven't really thought about that. I was
Lilies.
going to say I can only keep philodendrons alive in my house.
Okay. Lilies and philodendrons. Cool. What's your favorite time of the day?
I think I'm crepuscular because I really like when I'm getting up in the morning, and I really like the twilight time of the day.
Mhm.
Those are my two favorites.
Cool. What's your favorite thing about living in this area?
Oh, it's very peaceful. Although it is getting a little more
It
crowded.
is getting
I'm
crowded.
thinking I might need to move to Montana or something like that because it's not the country anymore. It's
Yeah.
very citified now.
Well, there's still places out like far west or West Haven you can find
Yes.
a little more open. What's your favorite book or story that's influenced your life?
Ooh, I love Little Women. Since I'm a teacher, I think I'm reading all the time. I just love any good writers. I like Rosamund Pilcher and Maeve Binchy. But Little Women is one that I come back to a lot. Love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Corny's reading that right now.
Woohoo!
What's your favorite hobby or activity that helps you recharge?
Oh, my very first thing that I do to recharge my personal batteries is I go spend time with my nieces and nephews. Now, I have a brother that's 7 years younger than I am, and then another one that's 7 years younger than he is. And
Wow.
they're quite spread apart.
Yeah.
So I do have a brother that has a 5-year-old. And so I just go to his house. He lives in far West Point, and snuggle with the kids, and that recharges my batteries. I
Mhm.
like to sew straight lines, sew quilts. I'll do quilts, and I love to bake. I'm actually pretty good at doing bread. Cinnamon rolls, granola bread, white bread, tortillas.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a stint of doing some sourdoughs. So
Stints. That's just one stint. Huh?
Yep. I still have the starter in the fridge, but I haven't gotten back to it. Cool. What's a favorite way to serve or help others?
Well, surprisingly, I really like helping people with family history. Well, I really enjoy that because I get excited about it. And I love helping, sharing materials with people at school and helping people get organized.
Mhm. Good. What's your favorite movie or TV show?
Since I don't actually have TV, so everything I watch is previously released. So I would say Psych. I still watch those episodes.
Psych is a good one.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite movie. Whatever I'm in the mood for.
What's a favorite childhood memory and why?
When I was younger, until I was about 8, we lived in Seattle, Washington, and going on hikes. We went up Mount Rainier, and there was a really cool park. I don't even know what it was, where you could just walk through the woods, and this is going to sound weird, just play on big structures. And also, then we moved, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we moved to Lafayette, Indiana. And so every summer we would make the trek back to Ogden to visit my grandparents, and making those 2 or 3 day trips in the car.
Yeah. So those structures, were they like ruins or were they made for climbing on?
I think they were made for climbing on, but I was little, so I don't really remember. But it kind of looked like plumbing coming out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So big structures that people could just climb on,
Cool.
which
That's fun.
probably they wouldn't do nowadays because then
Yeah, the
some people
liability.
fall. Yes, the liability.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing those. I think little details like that really help paint a picture of who you are and what you like. So we'll jump back to your early childhood. So tell us about where you grew up and what your family was like.
Let's see. When I was born, my family was living in Seattle, Washington. My dad worked at the Institute at the University of Washington. I was born a week before Christmas, so my parents had come back to see their parents over Christmas break. So I was actually born in Ogden, but we lived in Seattle.
Okay.
My dad was transferred to Purdue University when I was 8, and I started 3rd grade in Indiana. At the time that we moved, there was my older sister and my younger brother, the one that's 7 years younger than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to Indiana and lived there for 10 years. Then I was going to go to Purdue University, but then my dad, when I graduated from high school, got transferred to Logan. And so I looked up Utah State University and found that it was one of the 10 best in the country for elementary education. And so I applied there, came out here, and I've been in Utah ever since.
Yeah. So what was living in Seattle like?
It was wet.
Wait, what year did you say you moved to Indiana?
78.
No, I mean, like, how old were you? Like, what year
I was
of life?
I was 8 or 9.
Okay.
I was in between 2nd and 3rd grade.
See, you definitely had some years there.
Yeah. I remember once they canceled school because it snowed.
Well,
Yeah.
one time
They
Yeah.
canceled school because of snow. Yeah.
When I was in North Carolina on my mission, we got a ½ inch of snow
Yes.
and it shut the state down.
Yep. My sister lives in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah, I served there.
And she called the other day and said it's 18 degrees.
Yeah.
And so they've canceled school for the kids.
So it gets icy.
And here it was going to be 18 degrees. So we just didn't go out to recess.
Yeah, exactly. It's way different there though. But when that ice gets on the ground, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because that year I was in Raleigh at the time. People all let out of school and work at the same time. And they had we made international news because there were so many accidents, like 1,500 accidents.
Well, and they're not snowplows or salt or anything like that.
They weren't ready for it at all. It was crazy. But yeah, I did 6 months in Wilmington. It's an awesome area.
I've been out there several times to see my sister. I really like it.
Yeah. Have you gone downtown? Like historic downtown?
A couple of times,
It's cool.
yes. And then we went to it's not a destroyer. What is
The
it?
Battleship?
The Battleship.
North Carolina,
Okay.
yeah.
No.
That's way cool. Okay. Can you tell me about your family growing up and what was your home like in Seattle?
Let's see. We lived just a few blocks from the beach in Seattle, so we would go down there. When I grew up, we had 2 different Sunday blocks. And so sometimes we would go walk on the beach in between the 2 Sunday meetings. I remember that. And then I went to kindergarten at the local school, but then there were some anti-segregation laws. And so when I went to 1st grade, they bused us to inner city Seattle. And it was quite the experience. It was good, but
yeah, that's crazy. So where were you at? Because we go to Washington and Oregon every year.
I can tell you the address, but because that's all I remember. 12753 Northwest.
But you don't remember the city?
No, it was Seattle.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Because I'm curious. Let's see. The last time we went up, we went to Newport.
Okay, see, I'm not that familiar. I'm 8 years old when we moved. They were building the temple there, and had they just finished it when we got transferred, when my dad got transferred. So
That's a really cool place where you were at, though.
Yeah.
We like it up there. So you moved to Indiana in like second, third grade.
Yeah, right. I remember starting third grade a couple weeks late because of the move.
Did you like school in Seattle or Indiana more?
Probably Indiana because I felt more comfortable. And it wasn't inner city Seattle. It was really, I had some great teachers. And I hated school. Isn't that weird for a teacher to say that? But I hated school because I have anxiety.
Okay.
But those years in Seattle were pretty good. So I, went to elementary, let's see, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, then the junior high school, and then graduated from Jefferson High School.
All in Indiana. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you did have favorite teachers?
I did. They were the ones who just made school fun, where they did units where they were interactive and where they really pushed you. Yep. Those were the good teachers.
Did you have bad teachers?
Yes. And let's hope that's a few and far between. As a teacher, I hate thinking that someone might think, I had Miss Wilson and she was a bad teacher.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hated her.
I didn't like my third grade teacher. So that's all I remember. I don't remember. I think it was Miss Sullivan. That's all I remember. But I do remember I didn't like her strongly enough that a couple times I actually ran away, like during lunch or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
I tried coming home and I got caught both times and they made me go back. But I didn't like being in her class.
That's too bad.
But yeah, there were definitely teachers I liked for sure too. Was there a tradition in your home that you've carried on?
We have several, like especially around Christmas. We do Christmas Eve with the whole family. And when I was growing up, my dad was the bishop. And so we would always invite people from the ward over and act out the nativity. So I have some really good memories of that. And then we would always do a program. My dad would have do a talk and present it to us, for Thanksgiving, of course, family night together. But we've made a few new traditions as we've gotten older and the family's expanded because all my siblings are married. And so now we have pie night the night before Thanksgiving because pie is the most important part.
You don't want to be too full to eat it on Thanksgiving.
So Wednesday, our tradition is we bake 9-10 pies and then everybody comes over for pie night, which works really well because when you have brothers and sisters that have off years where they're with the in-laws, but they can still come to pie night.
Because they don't usually do stuff the night before.
Yeah, they don't do things the night before. So we always have pie night. That's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Does all your family live around here then?
My parents live in North Logan. And so I lived at home when I was going to Utah State. My sister lives in North Carolina. And I have a brother who lives in West Point and another brother who lives in Smithville. Okay. So close enough.
Close enough to get together though, other than the sister.
My sister, since she's older, she has adult children that are married and many of them live in Utah. And so they'll come up for pie night and Easter and things like that.
So she has a reason to come here sometimes too then.
Yeah. We just had her oldest son just got married in December. And so she was out here. They were all out here. And it was nice to be together because we don't see him very much.
That's cool. What's a memory from your childhood when you felt close to God or learned something about him through your family?
I remember when we lived in Indiana, they built the Chicago temple. It was 3 hours away from us.
Okay.
And we were able to go and be in the temple. And then we were seated in one of the other rooms for the dedication. And then they're not in the chapels, but they let you sit in one of the other rooms. Okay. This is back in the olden days. They let you sit back in one of the other rooms and you could just hear the broadcast. But then someone didn't show up for the celestial room and there were 4 seats. And one of the ushers knew my dad and came and got him and said, you can come sit in the celestial room for the dedication ceremony. It was President Hinckley and he came and dedicated. I don't know if he was prophet at the time, but he dedicated the Chicago temple, and that was a very special memory, very spiritual.
I loved Elder Hinckley. He's the first one for me that I remember his prophetship because of my age and stuff. I liked him. What were you like as a kid? Were you outgoing, quiet, somewhere in between?
I would say somewhere in between. I think my mom had some worries about me because I was so stubborn. And that was actually written on my kindergarten report
Kindergarten.
card that Shelley is very stubborn. And my parents have since told me that if they were worried if I would go the right way, I would really go the right way. But if I went the wrong way, I would
Really
really
go
go
the
the
wrong
wrong
way.
way. So thank goodness I'm at least where I am right now. I
Yeah,
do remember a story where she said that I ran after my sister trying to hit her with a frying pan.
there you
I
go.
don't personally remember that. So
Yeah, exactly. You said you had anxieties.
I do. I've been diagnosed with anxiety and
Yeah.
depression. And so that's something that I've learned how to deal with. I didn't know I had it until I came back home for my mission. And so
So something you
now
just suffered through school.
I think school should be fun and I think we should make it enjoyable and safe. And yes, there still is going to be anxiety, but we can learn how to deal with it.
And so you can actually help the students with it.
Yes.
Because I don't think I don't remember
No.
ever talking about anxieties or stresses and stuff in school.
Yeah, I think I
So,
was lucky.
but I'm sure there were people that did.
I think I was lucky because at least I was diagnosed in the age where it was kind of more acceptable to talk about it. And so I take medication for it and there are certain things that I do to help alleviate that. But yeah, I had a little bit of anxiety when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And well, I still do.
Oh yeah, Courtney does as well. I get anxious sometimes too, for sure.
I'm much more comfortable in front of a huge group of people teaching than I am one-on-one with people. That's harder for me.
I don't like teaching.
I'm lucky to have something that I feel confident doing. So
Yeah. Did you have any hobbies or activities you loved when you were growing up?
when I was growing up, we would play outside all the time. And since we're in Indiana, there were ravines.
Okay.
And so that's where we would go. We would go explore the ravines. I guess if you were here in Utah, you'd go up the canyon or something.
Yeah.
But we would always be building things down in the ravines, playing outside and gardening and mowing the lawn.
Well,
Yeah.
such a good life back then.
Yes, I know.
That's
Good old days.
Yeah, those good old days, exactly. So you were more adventurous. What's our memory that reflects that? Do you have, like in the ravines, do you have any specific memories that you have good story?
I just loved being down in the wooded parts and playing in the creeks and just feeling that's the best smell of the leaves and the trees and
yeah.
hearing the water and just feeling at peace, just being out in nature. I don't hike as much as I used to, but
Yeah.
we used to do a lot of
Well, there's
that.
great places to just drive to.
Well, just don't go in the middle of summer.
Well, it depends on where you go there too. The IU windows are still pretty cool in the summer. Did you have anything that you were curious or fascinated with as when you were young that kind of affected like your career choice?
I would imagine my dad asked me this the other day. He said,
Oh yeah?
have you always wanted to be a teacher? And I'm thinking, when I was younger, I thought I would either be a professional ice skater, but that didn't pan out, or a teacher for the two choices.
Pro ice skating or teaching.
Yeah. And I know how to ice skate, but that's it. But whenever we had like a Saturday that we could play, we would play school or store. We would play store.
Mhm.
So I think I always knew I was going to do something like that because we would practice doing homework and being in charge of things and grading papers. And that was just fun. I don't know why.
Naya loves to do that sometimes. She does homework just because, like, makes it up
This is
herself.
just fun. I do remember I used to babysit a lot for people in the neighborhood when I was growing up. And I do remember helping a little girl with her homework one day and being able to explain something to her and have her get that light bulb moment, like oh, I loved that.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Cool. It was incredible how much our childhood shapes our future. Let's move on to your teenage years. Was there a subject that you loved to learn about in school or maybe didn't love?
I loved math, hated physics.
Really?
Yes.
Because usually a math lover loves sciencey stuff. Too.
Well, I know, but
So you hated physics.
I love math because it's logical. And physics is not as logical to me.
Okay.
So sorry to any physics lovers out there.
Did you take biology or chemistry then instead?
Biology was fun. Chemistry, not as fun. Maybe it was my teacher. Maybe it was me. Yeah, it might have been my teacher. Let's blame the teachers.
Yeah, that's a common thing.
I loved the English classes that I took. I took some honors English classes, and they really got into some interesting subjects. I don't feel like I'm a master at any of those things. I do love to read, and I'm not bad at writing, but I think I like mostly all the subjects, which is good because that's what I teach, is all the subjects.
Yes. Cool. I think it's pretty common that I found people that like science or math don't like the English and history and vice versa.
They lean one way or the other.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common, but like my kids too, or me, or
Yeah.
Were there any activities or skills that you discovered as a teenager that have stuck with you?
My mom would teach us how to make clothes, and that didn't stick with me, but being able to use a sewing machine did. So I've made, I don't know, 15 or 20 quilts. And that's enjoyable to me because you're taking things that are all mixed up and making order out of them. So that's fun.
Yeah.
And
having an end product that you can be proud of, I think is cool. I have a couple of cousins that are making their own clothes. And I've always thought that that'd be something cool to be able to do. I don't think that I'd be stylish or make anything worthwhile, but being able to make your own clothes just if you needed to or wanted to would be cool.
Yeah, I guess we could all wear sheets.
Yeah. Just
a toga.
Some of those shawls or whatever they are.
I can't do buttonholes or zippers, so I'm lost there. I can sew straight lines just for quilts.
Sashes for everything.
Yes, that's what it was.
Tie it up. Okay. Were you involved in any sports or clubs?
Yeah, I was in the drama club when I was in junior high, and then Spanish club in high school. I was in the pep club. So I went to the football games. That was in high school.
I don't remember a pep club. Was that just to support the sports?
Yeah, it was like you were the group that would decorate the players' lockers. You would make the posters, and then you would sit in a special section in certain colors at the football games and cheer more loudly than everybody.
Cool. That'd be fun. I was not a sports guy because I felt like they all required too much commitment. But I enjoyed a lot of the clubs, especially because most of the clubs are heavy on the girl side.
Okay.
So I was in a lot of clubs. I did FCCLA and Key Club.
Well, I'm sure that was the pull for pep club too.
A lot more girls.
Because you get to be around the football players.
Yeah, there you go. So. Yeah, there you go. Okay. During your school years, was there a time that you felt inspired or guided by the Spirit in making an important choice?
Well, probably it was right after I graduated, the choice that brought me out here to Utah, and thinking, should I stay at Purdue University or should I move out? But again, I'm pretty stubborn. There were some people that told me that I was going to go on a mission, and so I probably stubbornly made the decision not to.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work out.
I don't know anything about Purdue, but I think I've heard of it before. Is that a more popular?
Yeah.
Like a upper level school? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But you chose Utah State over it.
I did. I wasn't actually in the elementary ed program there. I mean, I wasn't accepted. I was just in the regular education.
Like general.
And I don't know, I just really knew it was going to be elementary. I did early childhood and elementary education. So Utah State really was the best place for me. I had a dual certification and they have preschools. And I remember my sister went into education and she did graduate from Purdue and didn't get to do any student teaching until her very last semester. But at Utah State, here's my commercial, you get to start working with kids from the get-go.
Yeah. Because they have the
practicum that you have, and you get to work in the teacher school up there that's on campus. So it was a really good,
cool.
That was an inspired decision.
Did you have any like good friends and stuff that you left behind in Indiana then?
Yes. My two best friends, Amy and Tiffany, but Amy stayed in Indiana and Tiffany's family actually moved out here. So I got to see her a little more often, but yeah.
So you left the other ones behind though?
Yeah.
Have you seen any of them since?
Yes. They've come out to visit. I didn't go to my 30-year reunion or anything like that. But I've seen those two friends several times since.
That's cool, because I feel like after I graduated, all ties completely I haven't talked to or seen hardly anybody since then.
Yeah, that was mostly me, except for those two.
The two. That's good. Her older brother was actually one of my best friends in school.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've known each other for a long time.
Well, yeah. Well, she was just a little 11-year-old annoying girl when I was in school, because the age gap is 6 years. But so he was one that I kept up with. And then as I was going through a divorce with my first wife, he actually passed away. And that's actually how me and Courtney's relationship developed. But yeah, other than him, I don't interact with anybody from school. But that's cool that you got to hold on to some. So you knew right going to school that you were going into elementary education.
Yes.
Right from the start. And you loved that since childhood, you said. So that's cool. That's not always common. So after you graduated Utah State, did you jump straight into teaching?
No, about 2 years before, about a year and a half before I graduated, I was in my singles ward sitting in the back during sacrament meeting and had this feeling, Shelley, you need to go on a mission. And I did not want to do that. And it was a huge anxiety thing. And so I kind of put it out of my mind. And then the next year I had the same feeling, Shelley, you need to go on a mission. And by that time I was 21, which was when sisters went. And so I met with my bishop, and that was a huge life decision for me. So then I went on a mission, and I told the Lord, I will go anywhere you want me to go except South America. And that's where he sent me.
Yeah. You said it.
So he sent me to Santiago,
Chile.
Yeah, in the North Mission. And I went, and it was...
I bet it was cool.
It was. It really was. It was probably the most life-changing experience that I've had. I would say back from just following that prompting, that's what I needed to do. It has changed every single aspect of my life since then. It was as if I had teeny tiny puzzle pieces of the gospel, and someone showed me the big picture and how it fit together. And so everything in my life has changed because I served a mission.
I think going on a mission would do wonders like that for everybody. Because it helps you just bridge the gap from being a high school student or whatever stage to becoming an adult as well.
Well, and you're not leaning on anybody else's. I mean,
you could be independent.
Yes.
But also it's like a pillowed version of independence, right?
Yeah.
To me,
it was.
A
life inside another life.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then you have to learn how to, I know it's a little bit different now because you can call home and you can.
Yeah, I think that's so weird.
It was a 2-week kind of interim in between writing a letter and asking your parents a question and getting an answer back. And so you really had to depend on the Lord more than anything else. And so I ended up not leaning on other people, but you have to get the answer straight from the Lord. And so to answer your earlier question, I came back and I still had a year left. But it actually was perfect because it got me into my practicums and the student teaching that I was doing at exactly the right time. So I did preschool and kindergarten and 3rd grade and 1st grade. And then I graduated, and then I started teaching the very next year.
So. Cool. Do you have any favorite memories from Santiago?
Oh, yes. Oh, the people are the best. We were in very, very poor areas. Some places didn't even have floors, but the people were so loving and giving, and being able to teach the gospel and testify. That was just wonderful. I think my favorite area was at the very end. We got to go with the bishop and his wife. They were already sealed in the temple, but we got to go with them when their sons were sealed to them. And it was one of the most special experiences ever. These adult boys that we went with to see them sealed to their parents.
Really cool. I was able to go to help convert or whatever, baptize a husband that wasn't a member, but the rest of the family was. And so a year later, I was in a different area, but when he went to the temple to be sealed to his family, we got to go to that. Truly special to do that.
Yeah, because it's great when someone's converted, but when it's a whole family that's together for eternity, that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's so cool. Did you have favorite companions or any bad ones there?
Yes, I had some favorite companions that, okay, you can get along with anybody,
Yeah, well,
but you can almost get along with anybody, but just people that you just mesh with and you just think you, I
friends
had one
forever.
that I trained and she would call me Yoda and I would call her Luke.
Okay.
So we just got along really well together. So
Yeah.
yeah, great
How many
companions.
did you have?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't think I've
Oh,
ever counted.
ever? I don't
No,
remember anymore.
I'll have to go back. I do remember that's in my journal because every time I had a transfer, I would have my companion write
Yeah.
a page in my journal. So I could go back and find out, but I don't know.
I was in 6 areas, and I think I had 2 in each area, so that's pretty easy. I think I had
Yeah.
12. Yeah. I went to North Carolina, and most of my areas were in the South, or on the beaches and stuff.
So you learn how to say y'all.
Oh, yeah. We said y'all.
I think I only had 3 gringo companions, so 3 North American ones, and everybody else was
From South
yeah, some of them were from
Central.
Peru, some from Argentina. I did have a couple months where I had 2 companions at the same time.
Okay.
So I had 2.
And threesomes.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I ended with just the one. So
Was it in a place like that at that time, was it a lot different for sisters than with the elders?
I don't know because I don't know what it was like for that
Well,
person.
you had to have interacted with them, like at district meetings or anything, did you?
With the elders?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would meet every P day with our district. And so there were about 10 elders and then the 2 sisters always.
But, that's about the ratios that we had
Yeah.
sisters.
I'm sure it's changed now. But
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, now I don't see sisters out in like regular proselyting areas.
do you
They
think
go
they're
to
more
like,
like service
yeah,
or
they do like church sites or temple sites or
That's
visitors.
interesting. Because when I was in the MTC, we had a different experience because we were in a district, but then my companion was going to go to Guatemala to a service mission. So then the last 3 weeks we were in the MTC, we had completely different trainings because it was all about welfare. And so, uh, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. I don't know what everybody else went through, but
Oh,
I learned what I needed to,
yeah.
I think. I
That's,
hope.
that's all that matters. So your first job, you came back from the mission and jumped straight into teaching.
I did.
Yeah. And then you've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, I taught half-day kindergarten. Then I really needed a full-time job. So I applied for a second grade position at the same school. I got that and taught second grade for 17 years.
Wow.
I was a school counselor for one of those years where I would teach in the morning.
Up in the Logan area?
No, it was down here. I got my
Okay.
first job at Adams Elementary
Okay.
in Davis District. And then when I was a counselor, I would teach in the morning and then go to another school and be the school counselor. But then I missed being in the classroom and I didn't feel like I could make the difference that I wanted to make just being there halftime. So I went back to teaching. Then I switched to 4th grade. I moved out here to Syracuse Elementary and then switched to 4th grade. Well, I've been at this school for 18 years. No, yeah, because I started teaching out here, but I still lived in Ogden. And then I found a house out here, which made the commute much nicer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I can see how, moving from Ogden down here is definitely better for you. So you've been here since Ogden
yes.
in this house that you're in now.
Yep.
Okay. Have you pursued any more higher education?
Yeah, I went back to this after I'd been teaching for about 5 years. I went back and got my master's in psychology
Okay.
to be a school counselor. And so it's been, even though I haven't used that degree for quite a while, I've used the information that I've gotten from it because it's
You
really
need
helped
that.
me.
It'll help you for sure. I'm sure that's helped a lot. Make big impacts on your students for sure. As you were starting out in life, how did you feel the Spirit guiding you in your decisions about education, work, and relationships?
I don't know. I think having been a member of the church all my life, I didn't realize that the Spirit was guiding me. And it wasn't until I got we had a really interesting experience in the MTC where we were in this welfare training. So it was just the 2 of us and one teacher. And she said, I want you to practice this. People don't realize that they're feeling the influence of the Spirit. So she said, since it's just the three of us, every time you think you feel the Spirit, raise your hand. And it was kind of awkward that as you're, talking, you just right in the middle, you raise your hand. I think I'm feeling the Spirit. But that helped me to realize how many times I had been feeling the influence of the Spirit, but I hadn't
not really
realized what it
acknowledging it.
was. And so I'm not sure that I would be able to go back and pinpoint certain times that I felt the Spirit. One thing that I do now that really helps is that I keep a journal. And so usually every Sunday I write things down, and that's when I notice tender mercies, when I notice that the Lord's spoken to me. So I would obviously recommend that, keeping a journal. And then I recognize it in the mornings when I'm studying. Those are some of the most spiritual times.
So you do daily morning study still?
I do. I get up and I study. This has changed. I used to study Italian in the morning, and then I realized I did that for 2 years, and then I was losing my Spanish. So now I do Spanish study every morning, and then I do sign language study every morning because my niece and I are both trying to learn sign. And then I read my scriptures. So that first hour that I wake up is spent for just studying.
So you're keeping your Spanish fluent.
I'm hoping to.
Yeah. What role did your faith or spiritual journey play in these early adult years as you started teaching elementary school?
Oh, I feel like I can't teach without the influence of the Spirit. I know that sounds weird because that's secular and this is religious, but there have been times where I've felt impressed to do certain things.
Yeah.
Even for school, like get this ready, even though you're not going to teach it. And then something happens and I need to have it.
That's so
and
cool.
so just feeling the influence of the Spirit or being able to know what questions to ask students when they're having a hard time. I feel like listening to the influence of the Spirit all the time is really important.
It is. I like reading that scripture that says to even pray in your fields and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I feel that at work all the time. I'm an industrial electrician and instrumentation tech. So all the times I would think about that scripture because at work, like if I had this pressure transmitter or something or whatever, right, a flow transmitter that I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, I would always turn to that and I would be like, I know this isn't a big deal. It's just a stupid transmitter for this company and stuff. But I would pray for help to figure out. And I can't count the number of times that I would just immediately have this prompting, oh, try this. And then it would fix it. And it's just so cool to be able to turn to him but your job's even more important because you're affecting lives, children's futures and stuff. And that's so cool to be able to turn to him for guidance in that.
Well,
I like that.
Isn't that even President Nelson that would say he was doing the surgery and he would pray about it and see the diagram in his brain of how he was supposed to do things. But you mentioned something. You said, I know this isn't important, but I think that's what the Lord gives. I think we just say, Heavenly Father, I know that in the grand scheme of things, this isn't important, but it is to me. And
I've
he
heard
answers because he says, well, it's important to me if it's important to you.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. Do you want to share like any stories of men that you've dated or like, I just don't know how to say it because I don't know your history.
I dated a little bit in high school, but the anxiety kept me from doing it. I was in Lambda Delta Sigma at Utah State, which is the church's, I don't think they have it anymore, but it was the church's sorority. And so that forced me to date a little bit more than I probably would have. So I have some.
Is that because they like just make you do like young single adult activities?
Yeah, you do activities, you go to dances.
They pair you up?
And so they don't pair you up. You had to find your own. There were a lot of firesides you had to take dates to. And then I was in LDSSA, the Student Association. And so that forced me to do a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise. I had a friend that told me, I was probably in my 30s, and she said, Shelley, if you really want to be married, you'll pray for it night and day. And so I started doing that, and I got this answer. Shelley, you're not supposed to be praying for that. That's not what I have in mind for you right now. So I've accepted that. Sorry, this is not a sad thing. I'm very grateful to the Lord because he has taken care of me. And I've seen things that I've been able to do that I wouldn't have been able to do had I been married. One of those things is being an aunt. I have a very special relationship with a lot of my nieces and nephews because I've been able to give them more time than I would have been able to. And I can dedicate more time to my profession because of that. So I've definitely seen some blessings having been single. I'm not necessarily happy that I'm single, but I can be happy being single. And I'm really blessed because I heard somebody say that once you learn to live alone, you don't have to. And I've seen that. I've learned to live alone and I can be happy, but I know that I'm not really alone because I know the Lord's with me.
Yeah.
And if this is his plan and he says, this is your customized curriculum, Shelley, I can deal with that because I trust him. It's just a different situation.
Yeah, different. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So you have the two younger brothers, and so you have a lot of nieces and nephews that are quite young.
Yes.
And you shared that you get to spend extra time with them as an aunt. And it's nice that they're here in Utah too, right?
Yeah, most of them, you have to work really hard though to try and be the favorite aunt. And I can hope that I'm the favorite aunt. I have a niece that's in Texas getting her doctorate.
Okay.
And then I have the 5-year-old. So the 5-year-old's the youngest. And then people need to start having more babies. So I'm just saying, I can come, take yours. Or my niece, actually, one of my second oldest niece is pregnant. So looking forward to being a great aunt in a couple of months.
What has surprised you the most about being a grown-up and supporting your family?
This is the tricky part because I have the younger nieces and nephews and younger siblings. And then I have my parents who are getting older. They're in their 80s. And that surprised me. I guess that's like you're sandwiched in the middle. And I worry about that. I worry about my parents because I see them kind of going downhill a little bit.
Yeah.
And how much they used to be able to do. And I don't know, will I have the strength to take care of them as they get older and still support my siblings and their nieces and nephews?
What I like to ask is, did you have a moment, or do you remember a time when your testimony became your own? You didn't rely on like your parents' testimony anymore.
I think it was probably while I was on my mission. I've heard that people get out on their mission and they go, I never had a testimony, but I don't know how you get on a mission if you don't have a testimony. So I think the first time that I probably really realized it when I was on my mission, that this was me and I knew, and I was doing things because I felt them, not because other people were telling me. And then it's just gotten stronger from there.
Yeah. It feels different when you get that moment.
Yeah, it does.
Can you tell us about a moment in your life when you felt a powerful confirmation of God's presence?
Yes. I mean, I can tell you a little bit about it, but not all of it. I do remember one specific time, and I won't say where it was, but it was almost as if there was this pillar of light. There wasn't, but it was just a strong beam of, I felt the Lord communicating with me. And whenever I have a difficult time and I think I'm not really sure if he's there, I think about that time. And it was almost 15 years ago, but it's as strong in my memory as it was when it happened. I knew that the Lord was there and that he was communicating with me.
And then you write journals. So you're able to you keep that one in there?
I do have that in there because I write every week and I send it out to my family, to the 16 other adults. But that's not something that I've written. I don't think I've ever shared that with my family. It was something very specific and very personal. But when I do write every week, I'm just thinking about, for example, something that happened this week. I'm able to look back at it and go, oh, I can tell that the Lord was helping me in that moment because I write in my journal. So I'll write in my journal and then I'll pick out selections and send that to my family. But some of it's too personal to send out. I'll dictate things to my phone that I want to remember when I write my journal entry. But usually I sit down on Sunday and I'll write a couple of pages. But if I have had a really good experience, I don't want to forget.
Yeah, I know being able to do that, all those moments where you feel the Spirit and stuff, and being able to go back and retestify it. It's almost like a retestament to yourself. Being able to because my memory is way fallible. And being able to just, if I was keeping a good journal and being able to read those moments would be cool.
There are things that I think, oh, I'm always going to remember this moment.
But you don't.
And you don't. But for example, today I went back and I put in 26th of January, 2025. And as I'm saving that file, I'll have one that comes up 26th of January, 2014. And so I'll go back and read it and go, wow, I never thought I was going to forget those things that happened on that day. But I'm really glad I wrote them down. But my patriarchal blessing tells me to write things down, that it will benefit me. And it really
That's
has.
cool. Yeah. Mine doesn't say that, so I guess that's why I
So
don't
yeah,
do
you
it.
don't
Yeah.
need to. Oh my gosh. Oh, is there a bolt of lightning that's going to come down?
No. I wish that I was better at that. That's cool that you do. But let's talk about ward and service contributions. What roles have you enjoyed serving in the ward or your community?
The best calling ever, I'm just sending this out.
It's so on.
It's teaching,
Okay.
is being a teacher.
Just any teacher.
Yeah, I've been gospel doctrine teacher and what did they call it back then? Gospel essentials teacher?
Essentials or principles.
Yeah, gospel principles teacher. So I've done that. I loved that. Sunday school teacher, relief study teacher. That is the best calling in all of the church. It's the administrative ones have been good too. I've been relief study president, young women's president. I loved serving in the nursery. That was one of my favorite callings.
Yeah.
Just being with the little kids and I enjoy what I'm doing now. But teaching's the very best calling you could ever have at the church. And of course I've done temple and family history and I've been a ward and a state consultant. And no matter what, I am so grateful for those callings because they've taught me how to do family history and how to love it.
So do you do that pretty often on your own still?
I used to do it for several hours every week. I don't really like with the calling that I have right now. Being in the relief study presidency, I don't really have that much time to do it. But sometimes I'll do it on my phone when I'm just waiting for an appointment or something. I prefer doing it on the computer.
Yeah, it's way easier on the computer.
And one of the positive things from COVID was that I had to learn how to do Loom. It's like Zoom, but it's recorded. And so I have recorded several tutorials for people on how to do family history from my computer, and then I can just send it to them.
Yeah. And then are you able to, do you keep that and you're able to just share it with other people if they have some of that? Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's something, I don't know how long that server is going to keep that information, but I do have things that I recorded 8 years ago that I can still send out to people and say, this is how to do indexing.
Yeah.
This is how to do descendancy
Cool.
research.
And it's called Loom?
Loom, yeah. Oh, I thought
Never heard
everybody
of
knew
it.
what it was, but yeah.
How have you seen service strengthen your community ties?
Well, that's how I get to know people, that especially in these administrative callings. That's how I get to know who lives where and what they need. So whenever I'm feeling sorry for myself or I'm feeling like I'm not getting what I need, all I need to do is go serve somebody else. And then I see the blessings coming. So service has helped me to be less selfish than I am and helped me to see what the Lord really wants me to do.
Yeah. I don't think anybody that has done done service for others could say otherwise.
Yeah.
It really benefits you.
Yes.
Really.
It blesses us more than it blesses other people.
I love it. How has the Spirit guided you in creating meaningful relationships within the ward?
I think that's probably through my callings though, because as a person with anxiety, I don't tend to go out and if I don't need to go to an activity, I won't. But doing service for other people and feeling like I need to go help somebody with something has helped me build relationships where I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah.
That sounds weird. That's just me.
Yeah. What's a challenge you've overcome that gave you a new perspective?
I'm not sure I've overcome it, but I know that the Lord gave me anxiety and depression to teach me some things that I need to learn how to do. So I don't feel like I can say that I've overcome it yet, but just that act of trying to push myself where I don't want to do things, or I'll get up and go, I don't want to go to church today. I don't want to go to the temple, and trying to get myself to listen to the right voice in my head that's talking and telling me, what I need to do. I'm not sure I can ever say that I've overcome something completely.
And that's such a strong challenge too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's not light. It affects everything in your life.
Yeah.
What do you think the younger version of yourself would be most proud of you today for?
Probably going on a mission. That was probably the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. And I've done some hard things, but that has set the stage for everything else. Like I said,
Yeah,
it changed everything about my life that I've done.
it's cool. And you weren't planning at all until you had
No.
those promptings. Yeah.
No. In fact, because people told me I should go on a mission, I was like, no, I'm not going to, because I'm obstinate. I haven't overcome that yet either.
Another challenge.
Yes. Still working on that.
What are you most grateful for in this stage of your life?
My family and the gospel. Every family is weird in their own way, and my family is no exception. But as I get to know more people and I get more in-laws, but like my sisters-in-law and my brother-in-law, and I see other people's families, I think, wow, I have an exceptional family. I really do. Very oriented in the gospel and very supportive. And of course, we have our quirks and stuff, but
Yeah,
very grateful for my family and that I'm sealed to them.
that's cool. Yeah. What are your goals and hopes for the future, whether for yourself?
Probably just to do the best that I can. I have, personal goals, like I'd like to go travel a little bit and maybe make it to retirement. But I've heard people say just to endure to the end. And if you hear a 100-year-old prophet say he hopes he can endure to the end, then I'm
You have
thinking,
50 more
yeah,
years.
I hope I can endure to the
Yeah.
end, because I think every day it's a choice to try and do the right thing. And you can't say you're committed and it lasts forever. You have to make that choice every day.
Well, and he even shared the state president today. It's not the situation.
It's the focus.
Your focus on it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's more to basically mind over matter than some people let on or can give it. It's your how you're choosing to face it that
Yeah.
really affects it. I like that. If you could sum up your life's motto or guiding principle, what would it be?
Just keep swimming.
There you go.
It's a good movie anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, you just keep going. And some days I go, I can't do this week. And then I'll go, well, I can do today. And then I'll try to do the next day.
Just keep swimming. What advice would you give someone going through a challenge that you're facing? Like, let's say anxiety.
I heard someone say, well, there's a song I listen to that says, help me understand the best is yet to come. And I love that, because sometimes we think, oh, I've had the best days of my life, or I'm never going to be happier than I am right now. And I think the Lord is saying, no, you have no idea. In fact, I might have to get my phone, but there's a scripture in Doctrine and Covenants. I'll summarize it, but I'm not going to do a very
You
good
can
job.
pull it out if you want.
It's in section 78, and it's talking about how we're little children, and the Lord is saying, you have no idea what things I have in store for you. And I really do believe that. And I don't even know if my phone's right here. It is. So hold on a sec. And then we'll probably have to stop really soon because my blood sugar is really low and my alarm's going to go off. So.
Okay. Well, so we're getting good on time anyway.
It's Doctrine and Covenants 78:17. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, ye are little children, and ye have not as yet understood how great blessings the Father hath in his own hands and prepared for you. I love that. I think about that all the time, that we are so naive, and Heavenly Father's just saying, I have such great blessings for you. Just keep holding on and make it a little bit. And you have no idea what wonderful blessings I have in store for you.
That's good.
Doctrine and Covenants 78:17.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. As we sit here thinking that this is the good life, it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
That's cool. We can just wrap up then. I do want to get, well, do you want to share your testimony with us?
Yeah. I feel so blessed. I don't know why I'm one of the people that gets to have the gospel in their life. But I'm very grateful for it. I cannot imagine what my life would be without a knowledge of the plan of happiness and the scriptures. I am so grateful for the scriptures. The study of the Book of Mormon really does get you closer to Heavenly Father than anything else. And so on this covenant path, you study the scriptures and you listen to the brethren and you follow the promptings of the Spirit, and then you're going to be okay.
Thank you. Your words today have been inspiring. So thank you for being so open and sharing your journey with us, and your story will resonate with many of us. And I appreciate you coming over and taking the time to do this for sure too.
Well, thank you for listening to me.
Yeah,
this must be an interesting, calling for you.
Yeah, it's way different.